Thank you all very much. I hope you enjoyed the lunch that was provided by our vendors, so thank you so very much. We have some good news to share with you. We've got some presenters that are here, and they have a wonderful gift that they're going to provide at the end of this session as a part of the raffle, along with the ones that we've been receiving from us already. So thank you for your contribution today. We're going to be spending about the next half hour with you talking about the department steam boiler policy that we have attached to our property program. They join together and they've got some fantastic services that they offer as part of this program that really, really helps our customers to save money and to keep their businesses running smoothly. We have Anita Arnold and we have Milton, both of them from Hartford Steam.
Thank you so much. We're just so pleased to be part of the SORM. So thank you for having us here today. And we're also, you'll notice here, we're part of the Unit 3 family, and we have that since 2009. This is a little notice you see from Bill Graham, we don't know that. So we've been participating with SORM since 2006, and we have a really strong partnership. One thing I really like about working with SORM is everyone is participating, they listen, it's really, we all work together. Thank you. So today we're going to be talking about 4 agenda items, equipment breakdown perils. We'll talk about exactly what's covered under our policy. We'll also talk about what's covered equipment. We'll talk about, and then the last 3 items here, jurisdictional optimization and agricultural services. These are actually the ones that save you money. So I thought we'd kind of spend our bulk of our time. So in this, you can see this is a puzzle. And you know, equipment breakdown is just part of the puzzle. You know, you have property pieces and D&O and auto. You know, equipment breakdown is just one part of the puzzle here that you need to kind of make it whole. So it's just a gap to be filled. Property policies don't cover everything. As you can see on the left-hand side, there's some typical property exclusions. As we heard from Chris and Michelle earlier, property policy covers things like fire and wind and hail. You know, but I didn't hear any mention of the mechanical breakdown, electrical argument, explosion, and steam boiler. So that's what you buy when you buy an equipment breakdown policy. And here's the exact wording on this side of what you buy back. So you'll see with the, especially like the mechanical breakdown, rupturing, breaking, cracking, those type of events. So that's it in a nutshell of what we cover. I'm a pretty visual person, so maybe this will help some of you.
Like you are.
Yeah, don't you like it? So basically what happens with electrical equipment over time is you're supposed to keep it clean, dry, and tight, right? Electrical equipment. Well, over time that kind of breaks down and it doesn't become sometimes loose. And then electricity just kind of jumps to places that it shouldn't to. Unless you might have an electrical argument that might stain your paper box. Hopefully it stays in those fire. Sometimes that leads to. And then mechanical breakdown, as I mentioned, rupture, cracking, breaking, those type of events. Sudden accidental, direct physical losses. And then the last is explosion of the steam boiler. And this is one that we've covered since 1864. That's our founding. And basically, that came out from the steamship Sultana. There was a huge explosion, killing 2,000 people in the Industrial Revolution. And our company was founded on the premise that we could inspect it, make sure it was on certain materials, and those would stop happening. That is true. So that's it's still true today. So that's just an important part. It's not just the boiler itself, but it's the life and life people, right? So when we look about the equipment that we cover things like elevators, could be systems, computers, the solar panels. For us, you know, the solar panels are more the inverter box itself. These are more like packages for the security panel, things like that. But sewage treatment facilities, it really runs together. So I challenge you to think about your own agency and the exposures that you have. And a good way to do that might be with these simple methods. So this is on our website. We do have a very comprehensive and complimentary website that you don't have to have a sign on to, hsb.com. This is called the Simple 7. And this is a great way to think about your coverage in terms of electrical equipment. Like in this room here, what you don't see all the cabling to make it happen, these projectors, etc. So very important electrical. This is really the not in the closet because you don't see it. So very, very important. And Milton's going to talk about infrared and how we can use it. AC and refrigeration. Okay, I'm from Florida. I'm very familiar, just like you are, with AC and refrigeration. And if we don't have AC in the summer, we might not be working, right? Especially in some of the buildings that we're in. So AC and refrigeration is just so very important. Big bad B, boiler and pressure vessels. A lot of your agencies do have boilers, and we do that. We'll talk about the jurisdictional inspection component. Computers and communication equipment, security is important. So we're very dependent, as you can see here today, on computers. Mechanical equipment. These are like pumps, engines, turbines, things of that nature. Very critical for doing business today. Renewable and alternative energy, solar panels, wind turbines, biomass. There's a lot of renewable energy efforts, and we do ensure those as well. And then our production machinery, and production systems, which you probably don't have a lot of here, but we do cover that as well. So it's a very comprehensive coverage. So now on to the ways to saving money part.
My name is Mel Simmons, and I'm the Director of Engineering for the Texas Mountain State for Harvesting Boiler. I've been with the company about 25 years. Most of it I served as a boiler inspector, going out in the field doing the boiler inspections. I used to be doing the boiler inspections on the big power plants, okay? Now, when you're doing those inspections, I mean, those takes a couple of days. And you're climbing inside, you're actually getting inside the boiler to do those inspections. But one thing I noticed about those big boilers, those manuals that you use to really climb in there, they kind of shrink after a couple of years. I was like, man, last year I got in here really. So here's the quiz for you. What do you call a boiler inspector who can't fit inside the boiler anymore?
Retired.
Smart enough. I'm going to use that. They call him Director of Engineering. All right, let me say it again. Part of the service that we provide with SORM is, we provide the jurisdictional inspections. All the states, with the exception of Idaho and New Mexico, require that if you have a boiler in a public location, it has to have a safety inspection. Okay? Now, the state will come out and perform this inspection, and they will charge you a fee for that. As part of your insurance coverage, we provide that same inspection for you, and we don't charge you a fee for those services. Okay? Like I said, we have over 300 inspectors nationwide. We are the largest inspection force in the country. Just to give you an idea, there are like over 54,000 boilers in the state of Texas that require inspection, and we inspect about 15,000 of them. Okay? Our closest competitor only does about maybe 7,000. So we do a lion's share of the boiler inspections. Okay? Along with that, we're also doing loss prevention inspections. So we come in and we see something that could be called a loss in your electrical equipment, mechanical equipment, anything like that. We'll make recommendations to kind of help minimize or prevent that. And now our latest thing that we're offering now is what we call optimization. Okay? And we're going to talk about that also. So what is optimization? Basically, to make it perfect as effective or functional as possible. So what we decided to do is, as we come in and we do our inspections, we're not going to look for loss prevention activities, but we're also going to look for ways to save you money, optimization. If we see that there's a way where you can operate your equipment more efficiently, we're going to make those recommendations for you. Here's a typical cost for a building. So heat, light, and cool the facilities, and we're looking at about $4 per square foot. Okay? So we're looking at a lot of potential for savings there. And the majority of that equipment that can save you money, the boilers, the chillers, the electrical system, that's stuff that we're looking at on a day-to-day basis when we come to the facilities. So if we can see if there's a way to save you some money to operate that equipment more efficiently, we're going to make those recommendations. Okay? Average age of a commercial facility this year is about 42 years. And a lot of the buildings are not designed for what the type of equipment's in there. And so, you got a lot of old equipment in there, a lot of old boilers. One thing about the maintenance people, their emphasis is to keep the equipment running, okay? Make sure we got heat going to the facility, or make sure we have fire energy. So where they may be, taking care of it, making sure it's operating, and it looks pretty good on the outside, but when you take a look on the inside of the boiler, there's some issues there, okay? On the fire side of the boilers, you might have a lot of soot buildup. On the water side, you might have a lot of scale buildup, right? What this does is this makes that boiler operate less efficiently. So with more soot, you got to have more fuel, that's more cost you got to spend. Same thing with the scale. You see that if you have about a quarter inch of scale, that can increase your fuel costs by more than 70%. Okay? So a lot of our optimization recommendations are just stuff that doesn't require a lot of capital input. Correctly. These things like cleaning up the scale before you, right? And along with that recommendation, we'll direct you to our website where we have some calculators where your facility engineer can actually put in the operating parameters for boilers, the type, and just say, okay, what if I knock off a quarter inch scale? When you put that in the calculators, and you can actually get a dollar value on how much you start saving per year. It gives you like a range. Give you anywhere, depending on the size of the boiler, anywhere from like about $900 to $3,000 a year. And when you try to save some money, just something as simple as proper cleaning of the boiler, that kind of adds up after a while. Okay, this is what our optimizations and our recommendations will look like. Like I said, when we come in, when we do our inspections, we will leave what we call a loss prevention report. So we leave these loss prevention reports, and it may be recommendations. That's a code requirement or recommendation for loss prevention. Now we're going to have these recommendations for optimizations. We're going to have right there potential savings opportunity. You got a leaking steam valve, okay? Let's say, okay, you got this much leaking by, you have this much water over a year, it'll cost you about this much. So the way you can kind of start quantifying what these costs are going to save you. All right, consultant services. Okay, those are what we also offer is what we call account management. As the director of engineering, I am the account engineer for SORM. Okay? So basically, we have a single point of contact for any issues that that may come up, as far as boilers, air conditioning, whatever. Other services that we provide, TOGA. TOGA stands for Transformer Oil Gas Analysis. If you have a large transformer at your facility and it's oil cooled, we can take a sample of that oil, and if there's anything going on inside that transformer, overheating, overloading, arcing, or anything like that, it will show up in the type of gases that's present inside that oil. This is a service that we provide at some of the universities, and in fact, we can come down and we'll show you how to take a sample. Okay? Doesn't cost you anything. We send you the test kits, you pull a sample, we send you the reports. And like I said, also we have infrared inspections, okay? Our electrical system. It was about the mid-90s. We started to see that our electrical losses are kind of starting to exceed our boiler losses. So now we're going to start focusing on what we call electrical risk management. We're going to start looking at the electrical equipment. So one of the services that we provide the SORM at no cost is the infrared inspections. We can take several locations a year, which facility we want to scan. We'll come in, we'll send one of our engineers over there, and we'll do an infrared scan of the electrical system. And if there's any type of overloading on the electrical equipment, any type of loose connections or hot spots on that arc that we had up there earlier, it will show up on an infrared scan. And in fact, I would say about 90% of all electrical losses are precipitated with an increase in temperature. So if you can catch that increase in temperature before it gets too far, you can kind of help minimize the loss there. Like I said, I've done a lot of infrared inspections myself over the years. I have yet to do an infrared inspection and not find something. Okay? Always find something in an infrared inspection.
And if I can just add to that, that is a really popular component of our boiler and machinery program. Many state agencies, particularly because of the age of our buildings, take advantage of that service. scan those electrical panels. It's like taking a photograph of the panel, and those hot spots come up in the photograph bright red. And it's really cheap maintenance, the majority of the fixes. We're just tightening a bolt, replacing, the cover, removing scale and so forth. So really a very beneficial service. Can I ask a question on the toga, the oil? What is the benefit of taking the oil sample? What's that for?
So put it like this, okay? If you took a look at the transformer that we insure, okay? I would say out of maybe like 100,000 transformers or something like that, we have about 5 here. Okay? But when we take that same 100,000 transformers that are sampled by our toga system, we've only got about 1 pair out of 100,000 that you can actually catch a potential problem by doing the whole sample, wait for it to occur. Because usually what happens is the transformer fails and that's it. And you have no fire warning unless you have to do an infrared inspection. Like pulling the whole sample in, if you see that increase in methane or carbon or the other gases that are in there, you can kind of spot the problem. And if you do it every year, it starts shrinking it. So as the transformer gets older, it's maybe starting to develop a problem, it catches a lot sooner. A lot of times maybe just something that maybe just changing out the oil.
Thank you.
Account management, okay? Like I said, we have a dedicated account engineer, myself, that's been assigned to this account. And one of the things that we do is, like I said, we come out and we do a toga sample, or we come out and we do an infrared scan. We're not just going to come out and do the scan and give you a report and say, okay, here you go. We're going to actually look at the report and we're going to make some recommendations. In case in point, we did an infrared inspection at the university, and we found a hot spot in one of the transformer pushings. We let the university know you got a hot spot, and they came back and said, okay, we're going to fix this, in December, we're going to have our annual downtime, so we'll fix it in, December. Well, we took a look at that, I think you lived it too long, okay? You might have a problem that may occur before that, So we got on the phone with everybody, and we all worked together like that, and they decided to fix it within a couple of weeks. Okay? And this transformer was, it was going to fail. Okay? The only thing holding it on was change.
And those reports that these guys produce, they come to SORM, we review them and send them to the customer, and then we follow up on those recommendations because they're categorized by severity. If this is a very severe problem, and an agency makes a response, we'll fix it in like 8 or 9 months, either we get on the phone, we have that conference, or the risk manager for that agency will go out and do a visit to make sure that they are on top of that, and it's not going to cause a loss. So, these are very helpful preventative maintenance reports that we receive that assist our agencies. Yes?
As at least state people are in state-owned facilities under TFC, does TFC coordinate with you guys to get this done?
This is through the current SORM program. So those TFC buildings, as I described before, that are insured through Texas Public Finance Authority, they have access to this. Those buildings that are not insured don't have access to this service.
Is there a list that says which buildings are and ain't?
I have some, but you might want to ask your TFC board building manager. Yeah.
One thing I like about the report too, it gives you the cost before the problem and then after. So it really helps prioritize and a firm dollar amount. It's really helpful.
Firm dollar amount and a downtime. Okay? Don't say, an ounce, I was going to say an ounce of on the pyramid, okay? Especially when you're talking about a transfer blowing, that's a picture that can show you, how closely the transfer continue going out. Like I said, we'll come in, we'll pull the oil sample, and we send you the test kit, and we send it out. We actually have a bunch of labs throughout the state that we send these to. And if anybody has any questions about how to pull the sample, like I said last year from the University of Houston, the guy who's in charge of our training program, our engineer, he flew out, and we came to the site, and they had some brand new transformers. And we said, hey, this is the best time to take the oil sample, get some baseline data. So as the transformers go over, you can see the history of it. So he came down there and he showed me exactly how to pull the oil samples, what you're looking for. We put out there about half hour, half day. This is, like I said, a picture's worth 1,000 words. I mean, I mean, you can look at electrical equipment, you know, but can you tell if it's going to go bad or not? Okay. With an infrared camera, I mean, it shows up bright as day. I remember I came up through the Navy as an electrician in the Navy, and you know they gave us an infrared camera, okay, and we were using it, you know, to play games. Okay? You know, we were bored. We wanted to start doing it. Okay? You know, we never thought about using it to do our infrared inspection. Okay? I mean, once a year we would take down the entire electrical equipment and go through the entire system and check all the connections, make sure they were tight. It'll take about 3 or 4 days. All right. An infrared inspection is non-invasive. You can do it in about 2 or 3 hours. Okay. You don't have to shut anything off. In fact, you need everything running when you scan properly. Okay. You know, that can come in, especially if you have a large air conditioning load. That can come out in the summertime when everything is running. And all we need is somebody to escort us around, open up the panels for us, and we'll shoot the system. It takes about 4 hours. Okay. Like I said, I have yet to do one and not find a problem. Always find something that's going to, you know, go up. And this is that transformer that we were talking about, okay? I mean, this transformer was in like a transformer vault. Okay, now this is a single phase transformer, so that means that there's going to be 3 of them right next to each other. And if this transformer has gone, of course, we'll be taking the other 2 with it, you know, take it out the entire facility. Just looking at it, and like I said, the one really goes into that vault, you couldn't tell it was a little problem unless you got real close to it. But you just went in there with an infrared camera, and you can see it shows it bright as day. So we know we had a problem there. Like I said, when we did the repair, it took less than 2 or 3 hours. All it was this connection. We replaced the connection with the cushion, and we're good to go. And just as a follow-up, we actually decided to maybe do a total sample on that just to make sure we didn't have any issues. Okay, places where we do infrared inspection, of course, the transformers. And this also leads to another thing: is who owns the transformer? Is that owned by you, know, the facility, or is it owned by the state? Basically, not the state utility. You know, a lot of times you'd be surprised who owns it. Sometimes, you know, the location of the facility pays the utility company. But actually, it's owned by the facility. And if that transformer goes, guess who's going to pay for it? Motors, bearings, if the bearings is running hot, that's the best way you'll show a bright state that you're going to replace that bearing. Breaker panels, right? Come in and do a real quick scan on the breaker panel. If there's an issue, it shows up. This and that. Same thing for insulation and boilers, right? You want to make sure that they're working efficiently. When we do an infrared scan, we'll take a look and see if there's any heat leaking out of water. If there's any hot spots in the water. All right, red flags, things we want to take a look at. Of course, data center. If you have a large data center, that's good. That can be, a lot of heat build up. That can be an issue where you might want to find, a problem before it happens. One thing we're talking about, lack of surge protection. Okay. How many people have surge protection at their facilities? What do you guys have in surge protection? Little power strips and all that? Those are great. They work great. The little power strips and all that. Yeah, you know what I like about that? You got everything plugged in there. Okay. If there's any type of, like I said, thunderstorm which happens to lock down this area, all you got to do is take that power strip and unplug it. Now, guarantee everything that's plugged into that power strip is going to be protected. That's the thing I like those power strips for, okay? So when we come in and we start doing our loss prevention inspection, we make recommendations. Give what we call a whole panel protector. These are things that you plug into the panel and everything comes off of, all right? So now, anything that's coming off that panel is going to be protected. Those little strip surge protectors, they're just a big extension cord. All right, also property loss control surveys. Okay, I think Steve spoke really highly about those. Doing the property surveys there. And I think we're all ready. Any questions? Like I said, I highly recommend taking advantage of some of those COBA, the oil testing, and the infrared surveys. Also, we are your single point of contact for inspections. If you ever have a problem with need an inspection or something like that, give me a call, and I'll have my business card sitting out there, and we can make sure we get the inspection scheduled. And the same thing, if for some reason the inspection was done and you never received your certificate, give me a call. You know, we have a good relationship with there in Austin here. I can get a copy of the certificate and I can email it to you that same day.